And all right, hey everyone, my name is Alex and I'm from Zerion. And at Zerion, we are trying to build a trustless bank on top of decentralized finance protocols. We aim at transforming the decentralized finance experience, and hopefully we'll manage to drive the next wave of adoption of blockchain-based economy. So instead of relying on a third party to manage their assets, our users keep full control over their funds and can execute common banking services using our interface. And we are doing this because we believe that the future of financial services is decentralized. And there are several reasons for that. So first of all, we see it as a natural evolution, because we can imagine that Bitcoin came up in 2009 and we can see it as a cash, and then Ethereum popped around in 2015 and there are contracts, and now a lot of financial primitives appeared on top of Ethereum within the last few years, and now we are ready to build a decentralized financial system on top of that. And it's definitely going to be better than existing financial services because it's cheaper, it's more transparent, and it's trustless. And there is already a lot of value, so even though we are quite far away from mass adoption, we can see charts that show number of trades on decentralized exchanges, and it's growing. And the second chart is amount of debt issued through MakerDAO. And it's kind of nice to see charts that do not correlate with crypto prices, because they are growing regardless whether the price of Ethereum goes up or down. And it's a little bit outdated. I think this numbers are even bigger right now, but it was relevant a month ago or so. And 2019 was definitely a year of protocols, and so many financial protocols appeared on top of Ethereum, and I will divide them into three categories. So from financial perspective, there are three different types of things that we would like to do in our bank interface. We need some protocols to do exchange, so we can change our assets. The second one is borrowing and lending, so everyone is aware what credits are. And this last bit is derivatives, so we can create some sort of ETFs, some buckets, we can buy some options, we can buy short or long positions. And there is so many protocols built already, and I'm super excited about that, because pretty much any problem can be solved using one of those. So this is the first step for the future of decentralized finance, and it's developing right now, but it's more or less done. But unfortunately, the end users, they don't want to use protocols directly. Most of the users, they don't even want to know what protocol they're using. They just want to interact with interfaces, and they want to find a solution for their problem. So the next obvious step will be to build interfaces. But the problem with building direct interfaces to protocols wouldn't really solve the user problems. Because if you just create an interface that connects to every protocol or to multiple protocols at the same time, it will be complicated for users to understand, because usually users do not struggle whether I want to use Dharma or Compound to put my deposit. Most of the users only care, after all, about money, or like how they can find the best rate, or how they can find the best interest rate, and they don't really want to know what exact protocol they're going to use after all. Or when they want to trade their assets, they also care to get the best price available at the moment. And so it feels like we need some intermediary level in between protocols and interfaces. And I will call them product. And that's what I feel like is the most required thing right now. So there are a lot of protocols and a basement, but now we need to build a house on top of that. So we need to combine all these protocols together and make them able to solve the problem that people actually have. And there are already a lot of products starting to appear. Most of them are really early stage. So the guys from BZig that just gave a presentation, they built that sort of product. And there is also CDP Portal, for instance, another nice example of a product that can combine different protocols. Because primarily it's based on top of MakerDAO interface, but at the same time it also integrates some exchanges. So within the same product you can interact with multiple products and actually solve the problem that your users may have. And I'm going to share just my vision of what I mean by product. So here's a nice example, and it's not my idea, but I actually heard it from guys from Marble. It's yet another protocol out there, and their idea is pretty simple. So let's imagine that we have a liquidity pool, and we have a lot of protocols for decentralized exchange, and some people may see some arbitrage opportunities there. But in order to execute those arbitrage opportunities, you usually need some liquidity. So for example, you may notice that there is a cheaper price on Ethereum using 0x protocol, and you can sell straight away the same Ethereum on Uniswap for a higher price. But the problem is, usually when you see that opportunity, you don't really have Ethereum. So how we can solve that problem? We can create a liquidity pool, which will be a smart contract. And anyone interested, I will call them lenders, can deposit some money into that liquidity pool, and their money will just stuck there until someone finds an arbitrage opportunity. And once that opportunity is found, a user can supply those two overlapping orders for buying and selling some sort of asset. And the contract, the liquidity pool, would use the liquidity provided by lenders to execute the opportunity, make money straight away, and then share the profit between the user and the ones who provided the liquidity. And I see that as a really nice example of product that can be built on top of compounding effects of different protocols. And I think this is the time when we really need more products right now. And apart from products, we also need some services on top of products. And another nice example of a service that could be built on top of products is a CDP insurance. And how we could do it in a trustless way? All right, we can create a smart contract, and we could ask our user to give an allowance to that contract to use Ether when required. And then we can just use some backend system that will monitor the collateral ratio that a user found suitable for his CDP. And then he will not need to struggle anymore, because at the moment when the collateral ratio drops behind a certain level, the system will be able to execute a transaction that will go to that smart contract that is allowed to spend user's Ethereum and deposit it to a CDP. So it's completely trustless in a sense that user still does not need to trust his assets to anyone, but at the same time it solves a really big problem right now, because I don't know how many of you used CDPs, but I feel like a lot of people, when they open a CDP, they start care a lot whether their CDP is going to be liquidated, so they check the collateral ratio all the time. And services like that, they can be implemented and they can solve problems like that. And what is more important, it still can be solved in a trustless way. So building services and products like that, we still do not get access over people's money. And that's what I find the most exciting about decentralized finance. And what I want to say today is just, first of all, I really encourage everyone to build more products using protocols, because there are so many opportunities to build on top of them. And we also have a bounty for the best idea who can come up with something that can be built on top of that and could create a simple interface. We will be happy to give away $1,000 for that bounty. And you can check more information about that bounty on Kauri, and just briefly show the requirements. So all we want to see is just a product, the kind of I just described, that helps users to solve their problems and at the same time does it in a trustless way, so it doesn't get any access over the funds, so that we make sure that users always owns the money on their addresses. And we want those products to be open source. We want them to be uploaded to GitHub and also deployed to one of the Ethereum networks. It could be either mainnet or testnet. And of course, it should integrate, it should be built on top of at least one DeFi protocols. And I will be happy to make it more interactive since now. So thank you for my talk, and now I will be happy to answer any questions if you have any. There is a mic over there, so just feel free to stop by and ask anything.
I just noticed you're missing one, BZX, on that, so you should.
Yeah, because what I said, I feel you guys are more than just a protocol, because you're building a product, because you're aggregating liquidity. So I mentioned to you guys, and I think you're doing the right thing. Does anyone else has any questions? All right, I think that is it. Then thank you, and let's build the future of decentralized finance together.